I will die on that hill.
I absolutely love Miley Cyrus.
You have failed this.
All right, so I get to say it. Right on.
Sickest night ever. Is this? What are we doing?
No. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Call Guys podcast. I'm Gunnar, also known as Chico Noise, 3-time podcast host. Alongside me, as always, my good friend, Vanilla Thunder, Juan Keel for 3, Colton Keel, and our special guest for episode 76, it's Snake Plissken, Jake.
He who shall not be named.
He who shall not be named. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how it came up, but Colton was feeling a little feisty, I guess.
Yeah, that was just Colton feeling a little feisty one day. Just wanted to say didn't want to say my name on the air, so came up with "He Who Shall Not Be Named," and now it's just Lord Voldy. So it's great.
Lord Voldy himself on the Call Guys podcast for I don't even know how many times now, but he's back.
Let's bring it back. Let's run it back.
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
It's going good, man. Going good. It is here. It's back this week. Football.
Yep, Thursday night football. Chiefs home opener. The Detroit Lions making their way to Kansas City. The Emperor, who was just on here having a meeting with us, will be there to go watch them drop the Super Bowl flag.
Yeah. Go drop that, but take that L from MCDC.
Doubt.
Who's that, Jake?
Ooh, MCDC?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Motor City Dan Campbell, head coach of the Detroit Lions. One who won over the hearts and minds of, I dare say, millions of Americans with the Hard Knocks season last year. And if you've been following Hard Knocks this season, it's pretty good with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers. Feels like a little bit of fandom towards Aaron Rodgers, though. Feels like they're really kind of building that up a little bit. But definitely looking for the Kansas City Chiefs to start out 0-1 and the Lions to be 1-0 on their way to winning the division, right? Right, Colton?
We are 2 years out, so I don't care who wins the division.
The Chiefs, I in our predictions episode on Indiana Chiefs fans, I said they're going to be 17-0, so we can't lose.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
Who did the Chiefs lose last year?
They did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Did they lose to any local teams last year?
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
Local teams.
Local. Well, we didn't play Detroit last year.
Okay.
We didn't play the Bears.
Okay.
We did play Cincinnati.
Okay.
And I can't remember that Indiana team we played, but I just know they're not that good.
It's not Notre Dame. Not Notre Dame. You're thinking of Notre Dame. Keep going.
Yeah. Something about a horse and
that's right. For the shoe, baby. For the shoe, baby. Don't worry.
For the shoe.
Don't worry. Okay. Because if any of you fans out there are trying to look at your old school TV guides and find when the Indianapolis Colts will be on primetime, when they're going to be televised, you're going to keep searching because they have 0 primetime games this season.
They got to have at least one.
No, I don't think that. I think they have 0.
They got to have at least one Monday night game. Every team gets a Monday night game.
I don't know. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sometimes they get at least. Everyone should get at least one Sunday night football game and one Monday night football game. Because you want to know how I know this? Because the last 2 years, the Bears have always played one Monday night game and one Sunday night game. And guess who they play for the Sunday night game? The Packers.
Oh.
Because they know people are going to watch.
Well, they'll flex the Chiefs in the whatever spot the Colts are supposed to be playing for.
Well, that's at the end. That's at the end, and that's kind of what always happens, unless the Colts are in a playoff push. I'll do a little homework as he who should not be named is doing some research on the Colts schedule.
Yeah, sure.
I have to respond to 2 members of the Indiana Queens fans. First off, Chief, there is no way God's green earth I'm making any sort of win-loss record with the Bears. No way. There's no way. You can't say You can't give me $10 to say that the Bears are going to win 6 games this year. Because you know what? They could win 5 games this year, as far as I know. I just never know with them. So I'm staying away from that one. Jeremy, the Emperor, mi hermano. We need to figure out this bandwagon fandom that you have accrued over this time. And what I think we need a court of law to come out and say, is your fandom legit, or is it just based on the presence of being a bandwagon fan? You've claimed to be diehard. I don't know. Have you been? Well, no, you have been, because you're old. You've been a Chiefs fan longer than you've been alive. Then you haven't been a Chiefs fan, I should say, because you weren't born into it. So, there's merit in a court of law. You might win this case, but I think what we need to do, I think we need to put an age limit on. I think we need to. Brains aren't fully developed at a certain time. You probably stretched yours out a little bit longer than most. I guess it's just something we're gonna have to figure out. Steak, did you happen to
steak?
I have steak. Thank you very much.
You're welcome,
Juan.
Steak crispy.
Yeah, no problem. So the Colts do not play on Monday night, nor do they play on a Thursday night football. So they do not have a prime time, and they do not play on a Sunday night ever. So again, they have no primetime games this entire season. They play at 1:00 for the first 8 weeks at the 1:00 set.
Wow.
And then week 9, they play at the 4:05 slot. And then week
That's their
10,
primetime game.
That is not a primetime game.
They won't be televised. Local channels only.
Yeah, and it'll be we'll be blacked out, so you can't watch it anyway. So it's fine. Week 10, they end up going overseas, play at 9:30. They play the European game. That game will be televised on NFL Network. So you got that going for you. Then they have their bye week, and then they're back to exclusive 1:00 games. Now, there is some hope. They do have the Pittsburgh game on week 15 and the Houston game the last week on week 18. That is still in that flex position that they could maybe, you think, flex it to Sunday night?
I mean, they have 2 games. They have 2 games to be decided.
Who would? I know, Pittsburgh and Houston. Follow me. This is the 5% where you're not listening to what I'm saying.
You're absolutely right.
So
you completely missed it.
I just talked about it. So there's possibility that when we're getting down in the playoff hunt, you want to see Colts Steelers on a Sunday night. That's what you want. Or let's see. It could be the battle for the last AFC wildcard spot with the Texans and the Colts in week 18.
AFC Rookie of the Year, baby.
Yeah, Richardson.
Stroud, Richardson.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Stroud. Could be Richardson. Anyway,
I never knew this. I thought every team got at least a Monday night game and a Sunday night game.
When your season ends as an absolute dumpster fire, you do not get rewarded with a primetime game the next season. Doesn't happen. You have 5 different quarterbacks, 2 coaches. You have to bring a Hall of Fame center back to be an interim at the end of the year. Just things don't go well. Saturday.
It makes sense that you guys have to go across the pond to play football. Then I guess that would be technically your prime time game. At least that's what the NFL is trying to do.
Yeah, 9:30 on a Sunday on NFL Network.
They're trying to grow the game out globally.
Are they going to grow it on NFL Network?
Globally, they're just trying to get the game over there.
Do you think there will ever be any teams in other countries?
I think the only sport that we'll see this in is NBA, because we already have a team in Canada. I think they're going to go to Mexico. I think one team's going to go to Mexico.
Yes, the NBA will expand, or they will potentially move a struggling the lowest seeded, maybe the New Orleans Pelicans might end up moving since they became the Pelicans after the Hornets left.
I was thinking the Pacers.
The Pacers? I don't think it's going to be the Pacers. I think it's just going to be it's going to be an expansion team. I think the NFL is going to venture out and also go into Mexico or go into Canada. You're going to see it. It's going to happen. But I don't know that we're going to have one transatlantic. That's going to be too rough. Time difference is going to be too rough.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we'll get one. I think I could see the NFL definitely putting a team in Mexico.
Yeah, most definitely. I think you're right, but I don't know. That seems like it'd be a long time away before any of that actually happens.
I mean, they're already every once in a while playing a game in Mexico, so I could definitely see that transition. The only problem is that nobody likes to go to Mexico and play because of the fields there. Everyone complained about them.
Gotcha.
So, no, I think the whole thing about going to like Britain and Germany, like those places for these games, I think it's just to grow the game globally to try to get more
people watching.
More people watching.
And that makes sense too. That does. But
so yeah, I believe the NBA will get a team in Mexico before we get an NFL team in Mexico.
Yeah.
Nice. So, Jake, what's been going on? Anything exciting? It's been a while. Although I just saw you like 2 weekends ago.
Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We just all got together. We had a sprinkle. You know,
a sprinkle.
Not a shower. Sprinkle. Okay. It's not a drizzle. It's a sprinkle. It's important to know. Okay. It's not a scattered shower. It's a sprinkle. Anyway, so really looking forward to Keel baby number 2. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Gunner, can't wait for baby number 1. So
number 1.
We'll see how that'll be life changing. You know, for me, it's been good. It's been good since I've been on. School started. Kids are back. All the buildings are, just it's always good when you work at a school to have all the buildings be full again and all teachers back, and it just feels just have more life in the building, and it feels like school again. So that's been great. We're 2.5 weeks in now, so coming up on that first break. It's always kind of feels like a long stretch. The first 2.5 weeks, you get that Labor Day, and then fall break in October, Thanksgiving break in November, Christmas break in December. You just got break after break after break. And then January, February, March hits, and unless you're getting snow days, you're not getting any breaks. So doing well, family's doing well. Really looking forward to talking a little bit with you guys as well. I know that we've been working on the back end to talk about how to promote Call Guys a little bit, and how to also kind of promote what my wife and I have kind of started, Chrissy and I have kind of started with our family. So and perfectly picked as I'm repping the merch tonight, kind of a deal. So we'll kind of dive into that towards the end, but excited again to talk with you guys and go through a list, see how your guys' weeks have been going, and just catch back up. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're always happy to have you on here. You're welcome anytime. Anytime. I do have a question on the pod. I was told that we have missed it multiple weeks in a row. And we have. And that's my fault. It's our thing. We've done it. We've done it for a long time, and sometimes it just misses the notes, or I don't think about it, and then we get into the episode, and as we're talking, I just lose it. So I do have one. And I don't think I've asked this question before. But it is when this airs, it's a couple days into September, which means fall is literally like a couple weeks away. So, what is your favorite part of the fall season? Whoever wants to answer.
Colton says football's back.
There's it's a big part. Yeah, I mean it is.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean
He's
to
like, yeah,
take your answer,
football.
Colton.
I
It's
mean,
gonna be football.
football. I mean, I think the thing about it is that football has such a special place in my heart because of what it kind of meant for my family. It almost like it's all we did on. If I wasn't doing any sports or anything like that, it was what time is the big game? What time is Tennessee on? What time is Notre Dame on? Like, um, you know, are we going over to my aunt's to, big get together? We got Tennessee Bama, so or Tennessee Florida, or Tennessee Auburn. Like it's almost like planned family get-togethers surrounded by that time. And I just love hanging out with my family. So football for that reason has always been close to me for that reason. So um which I'm trying to do, and the wife is not from that kind of family, so it's a bit difficult sometimes.
I just had to turn Sarah into a football fan, and it worked. So
I've got her to at least be like, what time do the Bears play? Okay, we can plan our day around that. So I've kind of, I got
yeah,
Sunday football kind of covered. It's just transitioning over to college football, and that's the big swing I'm taking.
man, better not strike out. You never be watching college football.
Oh man.
What about
If
you, Jake?
Indiana was any better.
Yeah,
Yeah, if Indiana was any better. Best part about fall. I mean, I do like I said, going back to school and in my new position, like just getting that new start and seeing kids come back from summer and like they just change, especially junior high level. Like they just change so much in 2 months. It's not that long, but it is that long. And sometimes it's just sometimes kids just grow up over the summer. Like this kid that you struggled with and just has been, maybe they're just immature and they come back from the summer and they're like this level-headed kid who's like ready to do everything you ask him to do. And you're like, what happened to you? Like this summer was just a big change for you. And some kids, bringing them back so that they have some stability if summer can be a little rough for them. If they don't have the structure at home that necessarily school provides, that's always great to get them back and make sure you can continue to mold and dig in with them. So I'd say that maybe professionally. Personally, our family hosts a pumpkin carving contest every year. We have the fall party. So we don't host the Christmas or the Thanksgiving, but we host this fall party in October. And so once fall comes, we're able to get the whole extended family comes over. We do a pumpkin carving contest, eat some food,
Rigged.
just have a fun time. Obviously,
nice.
Colton has participated in
It's
the past
rigged.
and has not done well in the
I don't
contest because
participate anymore.
He doesn't
we
seem like
give
the
it.
kind of guy that could carve a pumpkin very well.
No, he has no patience for it. It is a craft that requires a lot of time, and he has no patience for it. So once he gets in there with the detail, and he messes up with it, he just gets frustrated and just
It's
give
so
give.
it's so true. It's so true that I can't. I almost destroyed a pumpkin that I worked on for like 3 hours because I screwed up at the end, and I was like, "This is pointless. This
Yep.
is this is dumb. This is a waste of time."
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm not
Yep.
even going to talk about
Right.
your anarchy voting system you run in that
Listen,
malarkey
listen.
contest.
It's the way it rolls. Okay, we have cash prizes, so it's important to give us your all, Colton, and you do not. So sorry,
There's
but
no
anyway,
reason to give my all.
that's
Get
I
Linda
guess those
on
are
the
some.
phone now.
Gunnar, what about you?
Uh, I'm gonna go more on the nature side of things, I guess.
That's pretty neat.
I mean, the colors changing, cooler weather, not like sitting outside and just like dying from the heat. It's all nice and cool in the evenings and in the mornings. We're kind of even getting that now. Like it was like 49 degrees this morning when I left for work. And it's nice to be comfortable or going out in a pair of sweats and a sweatshirt or jeans and long sleeves. And I'm ready for that kind of weather. I always look forward to shorts weather, but I always also look forward to going back to the nice warm clothes weather. So yeah, I'd say colors and being a photographer for as much as I was, and Sarah's also a photographer, so we spent a lot of time looking at a lot of that stuff and taking it, enjoying it. So yeah.
Very nice.
Football, school, fall parties, nature.
Yeah. Yeah. What's your least favorite part about fall? Mine is it's fall, y'all.
Yeah, I would say a lot of it is that like stereotype kind of stuff that pops up. Like it's time for pumpkin spice lattes and yeah. But okay, so we went to Blueberry this evening, and that
Yep.
was our goal, was while we were out, was to get decorations for fall, because last year we moved in the house mid to late October, so we did decorate for Halloween, but we didn't decorate for fall really. So that's what we were doing, and every sign, it's fall, y'all, pumpkin spice lattes, $1.29, like just like all this stuff. And we ended up buying more Halloween stuff than anything, but
Oh gosh, it's fall, y'all.
Can't stand it. I don't like it.
what it says,
Honest,
harvest pumpkins and Halloween or something like that.
it's just if it's cliche, just don't. Like you're trying too hard to push fall as a season. Like just keep it with the changing color of the leaves, changing of the season. Get to Halloween, get to Thanksgiving, like it's family. Don't.
Speaking of Halloween, Colton knows this, but I changed my fantasy football league team name.
It's great.
What did you change it to?
UB Halloweeners.
We wanted it to be Hubie Halloweeners.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
ESPN thought it might have been a bad
A bad word. They wouldn't let me put wiener in my team name.
Yeah.
So I had to go with winners. Hubie's Halloweeners.
Your picture's great.
It is. It's so good. It's so good.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited, but no, I think honestly, if I lived closer back to God's country, it's the Blueberry Festival.
The thing you hate the most?
Yep. I hate the Blueberry Festival.
It was beautiful this evening.
I never went to Warsaw more in my entire life than during that week.
It's in Plymouth.
Yeah.
Exactly. I went the other way.
Oh, you're saying you never went to Warsaw more in your life. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he didn't go to Plymouth. He went the other direction. No, actually,
I went the other way.
My mistake.
It was nice. It was nice on a Thursday out there, and it was quiet. There were people, but we got there about 6:00 and easy walking, and walked up into a line, and it took 10 seconds. Didn't take an hour and a half. So not like a Sunday out there, man. That's not fun. But yeah, question of the pod. Welcome back to the question of the pod. I'd love to hear your answers.
Let us know at thecallguyspodcast@gmail.com. What is
right.
your favorite part of fall?
Or at least favorite part of fall?
Yes, please, y'all.
Because guess what? I'm going to go get myself a pumpkin spice latte because it's fall, y'all.
So what are we talking about tonight?
Yes. So Colton and I kind of took off with the character series. It was a fun one. I think we had the most fun out of the two that we started, the actor series and the character series. The characters were just more, I don't know why they were more fun to do, but we're coming back with another actor series. Who doesn't love Tom Hanks? Tom number 2. Because we did start with Tom Cruise.
This is true.
Yes. So I'm assuming Jake
Yep.
Tom Hanks fan?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely, for sure.
And me as well. I mean, he's on my wall, of course.
He's on your wall.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk Tom Hanks, and we're gonna talk a little bit about him first, and then get into our top 3 movies, and then our least favorite movie, and our favorite quotes from Tom Hanks. But I do want to go over some stuff about Tom Hanks before we start. He was born July 9th, 1956. He's 67 years old, and he was born in Concord, California. I think he's pretty much been a California native his entire life, but he also is a native of Greece. I don't know if any of you looked that up on Wikipedia, but that's kind of cool. He actually is a citizen of Greece. So kind of interesting. He was born to Janet and Amos Hanks. Janet was a hospital worker. Amos was a cook. And kind of an interesting fact about Tom Hanks is that on his father's side, he's a distant cousin of Abraham Lincoln and Mr. Rogers, who he played.
Oh,
yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
Neat.
And I'm assuming that was a big reason he played that role. And I mean, I have not seen that movie. I don't know if either one of you have seen.
I've heard it's really good. He's a very good performance.
Yeah. So he studied theater in California at I don't know the name of this college, but Shabbat College in California. Then he transferred to CSU for his final 2 years, and then dropped out after he met the curator of the Great Lakes Theater Festival in Cleveland, and then he became Time Magazine's top 10 most successful college dropouts in 2010. So he dropped out of college, met the guy from the Great Lakes Theater Festival, went and worked there, learned a ton, and that's where all his success really started. So early career, man, he started early 80s. He was on an episode of Happy Days. And then he went on to Splash was his first role in 1984, I think. And then let's see, I think so Ron Howard, and you guys probably know who Ron Howard is, the director. He was on Happy Days, and that's where Tom Hanks met Ron Howard, who also directed Splash. So that's how he got his first role, is he met Ron Howard, and Ron Howard's like, man, you're good. You want to be a side character in this? And then when he actually was reading for it, he's like, hey, actually, let's have you play the main character in this movie instead. So, and then he went on to the 90s where he did Forrest Gump, Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, Toy Story, Apollo 13. So, big movies everybody loves. And that's about all I got. That's he's okay. That's about all I got for his bio there. But what's up?
No, I was just gonna. Did you get into his family? Do you want to do his family?
You got some of his family?
Well, I know he's married twice. His first wife actually has passed away. She was diagnosed with a bone cancer, and their diagnosis was only given a couple months to live, and kind of they actually had two children together in the first marriage, and then he was remarried and has two children in that marriage as well. But I didn't know this, but his son, and Colton, you can look at this too. So Colton, you remember, and Gunnar, you might remember too. Sorry, I go to Colton because I know he's seen this. So in Band of Brothers, okay, it is episode, I want to say it's like 8. It's the patrol where they are in a town, and they have to do a night patrol where they cross the river, and there's a new lieutenant who comes from West Point who was just graduated on June 6, 1944, which is D-Day, and they were kind of giving him crap because he's this really fair skinned, he's a really young guy who's this lieutenant who's just trying to get some experience in it. It's Tom Hanks' son.
Nice.
That actor.
Nice.
I didn't know that. I was doing a little research too, and I was like, his son's an actor? What's his son been in? And I was like, oh, he's in Band of Brothers. Oh, I didn't know that. So anyway.
He have 3 kids?
Share that.
3 kids?
4.
4 kids.
Yeah. Yep. 2 and 2. 3 of them are actors, or 2 daughters, 2 sons. 3 of them are actors or actresses, and one of them is works as kind of like a film on the camera, kind of works behind the scenes a little bit.
Nice.
Sorry, that was my research
this
afternoon.
He does have a Presidential Medal of Freedom, which I think Obama gave him back in, I don't even know what year he got that, but and also kind of cool, he collects typewriters. And he actually has created an app for your phone where you can download it and turn your phone into a typewriter. Like it looks like a typewriter. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. So what do you guys think of Tom Hanks as an actor overall?
Cool.
Probably one of the better actors that we grew up with, but we didn't really know because of our age at the time. I think it's an actor that you had to go back, especially for our generation. You had to really go back and watch kind of some of his older stuff. Of course, we know him probably first and foremost as Woody.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you really get back to, you got A League of Their Own, we have Forrest Gump, That Thing You Do. Um, those kinds of movies, like you start to realize, like, dude, the dude put the work in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think in order to fully appreciate him, you have to go back to his 90s movies and really dive deep into those and what he was doing. Cause I think that was his best era of movies. So um I think he's phenomenal. I think he's great. Love him as an actor. If he's in the movie, um, I'm probably at least going to give it more of a shakedown, more of a shot between that his movie and another movie, if I had to choose. So
Yeah. Nice.
that's my thoughts on him. What about you, Snake?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean it's hard to say that he's not accomplished, and he's the second actor to ever win back-to-back Academy Awards for one year after the other. I think he won it 94, 95, I think. Um, so it's kind of hard to argue the pedigree that is Tom Hanks and just the breadth of his work, because it's not like he had a run in the 90s that Colton was talking about where he churned out a lot of movies that not only grossed a lot of money but also earned a lot of awards, and then very easily could have just kind of been very selective and done just maybe one movie every couple really stretched out a career and just kind of lived off of that and been fine, but continues to be in the business, continues to be involved, has had his children play multiple parts in movies with him, which I thought was interesting to have his sons and daughters kind of play in some of the roles. For example, in Forrest Gump, the scene where Forrest gets on the bus and there's one little girl that has seats, she kind of moves over and says he can't sit there. That's actually his son or his daughter. That's Tom Hanks' daughter who's in that movie. So he kind of like has made making movies part of his family and part of his life, and really is evident in his children being all of them being involved in one way or the other with it. And I think that um, that kind of speaks maybe to him, that if you're going to have a career that's going to be around making movies, and you have a passion around that and you can share that with your children and get them inspired to kind of follow it, says a lot about your character, that um, you can make time for your kids even within your profession. We've seen there's plenty of examples of actors or actresses who have had family issues because they've been really focused on their career, and it's not necessarily the case for Tom Hanks. So I don't really have a lot negative to say. We do have an option here where we'll talk about our least favorite films, but I don't know that those might be necessarily his fault in it. But I also feel that there's this like really young Tom Hanks with like the curly hair, like the long curly hair, like that's a really young Tom Hanks.
Oh yeah.
And then there's this like, I don't know, more clean cut version of Tom Hanks that started after the early to mid 90s. So I don't really have anything else to add other than I've enjoyed watching movies, and like Colton said, if he's in it, probably give it a chance. He's one of those generational actors.
Yeah, I mean, I would 100% agree. I mean, if he's on the bill, it's like it's Tom Hanks, right? You're gonna want to watch it, and of course, he's had some lemons, but I mean, most of the time, and like Colton said, we grew up with him as Woody. And I remember growing up, my nana had Big on VHS, and it was one of those movies that I loved to watch over and over and over again. But just overall, his versatility as an actor. I mean, you got to think. You said in the '80s into the early '90s, he was that goofy comedy guy. Like he did mostly comedies, and that's what he played. And then you get into the '90s, and he starts getting a little bit more serious. And now you see a more clean cut, serious. And in even watching like Elvis, like he just is a completely different character. So you've seen him grow over the years of him being in movies, and his acting is just it's amazing how it's all over the place, and it's over the place really well. So yeah, I absolutely love Tom Hanks. There's a point in my life where Thanksgiving wasn't Thanksgiving, it was T Hanksgiving. So and I think that was my sister's fault, but um no, he's you gotta love him. Got to love Tom Hanks. And who doesn't love Tom Hanks? So let's do our top threes, top three movies. Whoever wants to start, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go back and do our least favorite.
I'll start. I'll go first.
Okay.
My number 3, I'm going to go with Woody, the Toy Story movies. Kind of just what you just said and what I said earlier. Grew up with them, iconic. I mean, just movies we grew up watching all the time. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that was like a movie that I quote unquote would binge, especially when like during the summer or, I just love those movies. Just brings back good memories. So that's why my number 3 is Toy Story and or Woody, the voice of Woody.
Nice. Jake?
Nice. My number 3, I know it's early. It's early, okay. My number 3 does make me cry. I know I'm not there yet, but
Okay.
I have
Probably go
cried.
get that checked out.
I have cried at this movie, and to this day, when you watch it, I still will tear up a little bit. Like it won't be full, but the first time I watched it, cried. Um, it's a movie about Depression era setting, and it's about Tom Hanks plays the lead corrections officer on the E block, execution block, in the movie The Green Mile, where John Coffey, which is an intentional name to, I believe, signify Jesus, actually, because um, John Coffey has the ability to heal. He has the ability to take pain away, and he takes that upon himself. And then he also has the ability to release that onto others and cause them to become possessed, if you will. There's a part in there where he gives those like flies.
Mm-hmm.
But towards the end, when Tom Hanks is talking to John Coffey, and he's saying, "How do when I get to the gates of heaven, how do I explain to God that I've executed one of His miracles?" And when John Coffey's talking about how he's just tired of all the pain and tired of all the hurt, it gets me every time. And it's just as, and they're crying while they're going to the execution. It's just sad. It's sad. Sorry to spoil it for everybody, by the way, if you haven't seen it.
Oh God, if you haven't, my gosh.
If you haven't seen it,
99.
I know, but if they haven't seen, listen, kids today haven't seen it. There's no shot they've seen it. Okay, no chance that they've seen Green Mile. They need to go watch Green Mile. The only issue is, I believe the runtime is very, very long.
Yeah.
It's
250 maybe.
It's
Maybe
hefty.
longer.
It is a long movie, so you gotta buckle in, stay along for the ride because it's worth it. But my number 3 is The Green Mile.
Good choice. Good choice. My number 3, 2000, All About FedEx. And it's Castaway. Another
All about
movie.
FedEx.
Another movie that just stuck with me as a kid, and I watched a lot, and I actually watched it not too long ago, and it made me remember that it has the greatest plane crash scene in any movie ever, and it is insanely good. Go back and watch it again. It is
Any movie ever?
yes.
I mean,
Go
Denzel flies a plane inverted, right?
yeah, but no, seriously, go rewatch
You,
rewatch that scene,
it's
just the plane
inverted.
crash scene.
It's inverted.
I
Denzel flies
understand.
a plane inverted.
I'm sticking to what I said. I'm gonna die on that hill. Add it to the drop down menu.
Add it to the drop down.
Okay. I will say, Gunnar, like the plane crash, like the crash and then the aftermath. Like I agree with you. That's really good. Right? Like gets stuck and
Stuck.
almost
Oh man,
dies.
dude, it is intense. It's intense
Yeah.
to watch, and if you like turn the movie on, it's at that point you're watching the whole movie. I mean, yeah, I love just the backstory of him being somebody that works for FedEx that gets stuck on an island and he has to survive, and he does survive for, gosh, I don't remember how many years he's on the island, but he does it and he comes back and nothing's the same for him. And he's got to figure out how to live a new life. And everybody thought he was dead. So they just kind of gave up. And it's sad, but it's very, very emotional. And it really pulls on the heartstrings to watch it. And especially to watch it in recent weeks. It's a good movie. It's fun to watch. And
What's your view on island dentistry?
um, don't use a rock or a stick.
Don't use a rock and an ice skating blade that he like sticks in his mouth and like
God,
oh, that one was rough. That part was rough.
it's so rough. And anytime he got injured, um, yeah, definitely rough. And then to when you realize that the person that he has made is hanging from the tree at the top of the mountain, and that was just for him to test out him killing himself. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, that gets a little deep. They don't really
Right.
ever show it, but
And who all of a sudden gets emotional because of a volleyball, you know?
oh,
That would never happen in any other movie.
Wilson.
I sorry if I stole your quote moment later, if that was
No,
going to be
no,
somebody's
you're
quote.
good. You're
Okay.
good.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, it gets sad. Like, you're sad because of a volleyball.
Yeah. So my parents have the Wilson volleyball without the coconut or whatever he has sticking out the brush.
Without the hair.
Yeah, the hair. But yeah, they got that a long time ago. When we used to do Slam Jam, they had the Wilson volleyball that they played with, and yeah. But yeah, my number 3 is Castaway.
Nice.
Colton, does your number 2 make you cry like Jake's number 3?
I don't know. I've seen this movie a lot. It used to make me cry, but now it makes me laugh. I almost think it's a comedy. Might be a little twisted, but my number 2 is Forrest Gump.
Oh my God, it makes you laugh now?
Yes.
Okay. Please. I can't wait for this
I
explanation.
don't even know if I want to hear it.
So, I don't think he's listening, but when I lived down in Florida, I became really, really good friends with a guy named Marquise. Brother, love you, miss you. Keith is my guy. He is my dude. And we were all hanging out one night, and someone suggested watching Forrest Gump. And he's like, man, y'all, I didn't know we wanted to watch a comedy. And I looked at him, I said, comedy? He said, oh, yeah, watch this. And I watched this movie with him. And boy, oh boy, do my eyes open when he starts going and going and going. I was like, oh man, this is kind of funny.
You ever been to a Bubba Gump's?
No, I have not.
Completely overrated.
Yes, expensive and overrated.
That makes sense. I could see that.
But it's always in like touristy towns, I guess. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's a great movie. I love the premise of the movie. I love the history that goes on throughout the movie. And you're wondering the whole time as he's sitting on this bench telling his life story, like, why the heck are we sitting on this bench? And the full circle of everything for it was just amazing too. It was just really, really well done. Um, I it is sad. Don't get me wrong, it is sad, but I find it funny a lot now.
There are a lot of comedic moments in the movie. I mean, it's meant to have some comedy, but it's
Oh,
definitely also sad.
it's it's. I'm telling you, man. You watch this movie with Keith, he'll change the viewpoints.
Okay.
You should, the saddest part of the whole movie is when Bubba dies. And I've never met a dude that laughed so much during that scene. Jake, are you saying that is not
That
the
is
saddest part?
that is not the saddest part
What
of
is
that
the
entire
saddest
movie.
part?
Okay,
What is the saddest
I'll
part
tell
of
you
it?
when it's my turn. This is your turn, but I'm just shaking my head in
I'm
disapproval.
asking you now. I'm asking you now.
Well, my number two does make me cry, and it is a story of a man who has the entire, what seems like the entire major events of the United States history, from the birth of Elvis through through, through the Vietnam War. A man who has his entire financial empire built by a man who has no legs, who decides to invest into a fruit company, and therefore they don't have to worry about money anymore because he was an early Apple investor.
And here you are laughing.
I'm laughing because there are parts that are very funny. Okay, Lieutenant Dan, you got legs. It's magic legs. Okay, it's great. There are plenty of funny parts in the entire movie. Okay, like Greenbow, Alabama doesn't actually exist, but Chrissy, my wife, and I, we will constantly yell,
Go
"You
back
should
to
go back to
Greenbow.
Greenbow, Alabama!"
You should hear Calvin say that.
Right? Like it works. The entire movie is great. The run, Forrest run, where he gets all of a sudden his back,
I
which
just
was
kept running.
it was crookeder than a politician, and it had a big question mark or whatever it was. And they all, his gear falls off, and he's just running, and then he plays it Alabama. Like it's a great movie. Okay, but Colton, the saddest part is not when Bubba asks, "Why did this happen?" and Forrest says, "You got shot." That
You
is
got
supposed to be
shot.
funny. That
You
is
got
supposed to be funny.
shot
It's
in
not
the
supposed to be sad.
buttock.
It's not supposed to be sad. Okay.
No. When he said the sad part is when Bubba is saying his last words and he's
No,
struggling to get those words out.
no, not sad. Did not cry at that part. Okay, I
Okay.
did not cry at all. Didn't cry. I don't cry. Okay, until this is a family show. Okay, and I'm gonna try and hold my tongue as much as I can. Okay, but
Come on.
that that little garden tool called Jenny, okay? She, goes around with
Wow.
all these other people, all right? Then she shows back up for Forrest for a one
Oh
night
yeah.
stand,
Oh
okay?
yeah.
Then she leaves again. And then so at the end of the movie, I'm just spoiling all sorts of Tom Hanks movies in this episode, so
Thank you.
Another 94.
it's fine. Kids need to watch it, okay? The saddest part is when Forrest realizes that um, the kid who can see dead people. I'm blanking on his name.
Haley Joel
Haley
Osment.
Joe Osmond. Haley Joe Osmond. So when Haley Joe Osmond here, who's Forrest's son, so there's one part where you kind of tear up a little bit, and that's when Forrest asks, "Is he like
Is
me?"
he like me?
Like that's pretty important. Like that's a very smart question for somebody at Forrest's IQ to be asking. Okay, is he like me? And she says he's smart, and he's starting to get emotional. But when Jenny dies and he buries her and he's talking at Jenny's grave and he talks about everything that they do together, him and little Forrest do together, and he talks about them reading, and he says he's so smart, and he breaks down crying. Like that gets me because he's still in love with Jenny so much to talk to her, and he's so proud of Forrest, who's Haley Joel Osment, who's like 7 in this movie right now, and how he's just impressed by how smart he is, and it just is a beautiful moment, and it made me cry in that moment. That one made me cry. Okay, so that is the saddest moment. Jenny dies, and he has to take on the responsibility of being a father, and he's so proud that little Forrest is not like him and is so much smarter than him. That's what's sad, not Bubba.
Jenny dying is not sad.
It's not Jenny dying. It's Forrest talking to Jenny about him basically
That's not
becoming a
what you
single
said, though.
dad.
That's not what you said, though.
That is what he said.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. But okay.
I'll give you the second part. I won't give you the first part.
Okay,
I'll give you the
Jenny-
second part, not the first part.
The act of Jenny dying is not sad
Get
'cause
rid of
we
Jenny
never-
altogether.
You can't. You cannot get rid of Jenny. No.
Yeah, you can.
You cannot. No, you
Yeah,
cannot.
you can.
She
got
is
rid of
woven-
Forrest. She got rid of Forrest in the beginning.
She's woven into so many of the timelines. You cannot get rid of her. The most famous line from the entire movie is spoken by Jenny. Run, Forrest, run.
Oh,
Spoken by
wow.
Jenny.
You think that's the most...
Okay. Tell me what
We'll get
is
to
the
quote.
most
We'll get to
famous
quotes
line?
here in a little bit.
Oh, man.
What is the no readers, please, listeners, please. I said readers, like people are reading this. Listeners, please tell us what the most famous line is from Forrest Gump. Please
Life was like a box of chocolates. Mama.
You never
Mama
know
said,
what you're going to get.
No, because everybody messes up that line. You say it wrong.
Life was. That's what Mama said. Life was like a box of chocolates.
Yes, everybody misquotes it. So you can't say it's the most famous quote if everyone says it wrong.
Well, everybody quotes.
Anyway.
Everybody quotes Darth Vader wrong too.
That they do. So
Well, I mean, I don't know.
Gunnar, what's your number 2? Doesn't make you cry. Let's get away from this idiot.
Forrest Gump has never made me cry, and it is my number 2. And
Oh my God!
Wow, that's a clean sweep. Do we like a giveaway? Is that
clean
what happens
sweep.
when we all have it?
Just
It's a
add
giveaway.
in the air horn. No, it legitimately is on my number 2, and for every reason you guys talked about, and yes, Bubba Gumps does suck. It's not a very good restaurant.
Gunnar, when do you cry in Forrest Gump?
I don't. I
Oh,
don't
you
know that I've
don't?
ever
I'm
cried through
sorry.
Forrest Gump.
I'm sorry. Okay,
I mean-
if you were gonna cry, would you cry at Bubba's death? Or would
Oh
you
my
cry?
gosh!
You know, the moment Lieutenant Dan just flips off his wheelchair into the water.
Going to have a talk with the creator.
When he finds his peace.
Yep, it's a good moment.
It's good.
I use that a lot when I talk to people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, Forrest Gump number 2, Colton
That's a
number
good
1.
No
Are
honorable
we doing
mentions?
honorable mentions?
No, we're not doing honorable mentions. We're doing our least
Oh.
favorite.
Ouch.
I was gonna say because I got 1,000 honorable mentions.
I think
Same.
everybody does, and we're gonna do number 1, and then we're gonna do least.
You know
favorite.
what? I'm gonna add something. Okay, right here at the end.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna add something. Anywho, my number 1, Saving Private Ryan, man.
Oh well, that's Jake's too. I'm assuming.
Is it yours?
Oh, it's not.
No, it is not.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, just the opening scene. Man, talk about Spielberg just capturing a moment that is as important in the United States history and potentially the world history at that point in time of what was going on and how he was able to capture that in a 25-30 minute window. I don't know how long that it seemed like a really long time, but when you watch it, it's like 5 minutes, you feel like, but when you like really like go through it, it's like a 25-30 minute scene. And just how well he captured it. Just it was phenomenal. And then really, it talks, Jake would probably know this more than me because I'm guessing, but Band of Brothers is kind of that same storyline to an extent of a group of guys being together for a common goal to an extent. just focused on a smaller group is kind of like what this felt like to me. It felt like the movie version of Band of Brothers. So, I mean, we get Ben Affleck, we get, just a great cast of really, really good at the time, really good side characters, who were never really main characters outside of Affleck. We get a super young Vin Diesel for a hot second. I mean, it's just a fantastic movie. Just a fantastic movie. Ted Danson's in it. Young Matt Damon, obviously. I mean, just a wonderful, wonderful movie. For any history buff out there.
Yeah, I remember watching it senior year was it senior year or junior year for the first time?
Senior year for
the first time fully through. I've probably seen parts of it, but fully through. And
hey, what movie did you like more? Well, yeah, I take that back. You probably liked.
Oh yeah,
what'd you think of what'd you think of Schindler's List?
I enjoyed Schindler's List. That wasn't my kind of movie, but
was that the first time you seen it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Jake, was that the first time you saw Schindler's List in Heater's class and in the auditorium for Heater's class?
Yes, that was the first time.
Really? That surprises me. That was probably my third time. Thanks, Dad.
yeah. Well, that's the difference. I mean, it was your third time watching Schindler's List. By that time, I have watched Running Man 3 times, Total Recall twice, and Judge Dredd at least half a dozen times. So, we all had our vices that our fathers made us watch.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't that the truth? And for those either listening that are, under the age of 30, those would be the original movies, not the remakes that have come out in the past 5-6 years.
Yeah. I didn't think of that. I was like,
no, those have been remade. So
I only know the ones. Total Recall. If it's not Schwarzenegger, it's not it.
Gosh, Colin Farrell tried. Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
That's a great number one. Cody. Ben Affleck was not in it. Your Matt Damon was in it. Ben Affleck was not. That would be Edward Burns, who's a lookalike of Ben Affleck, but it's not Ben Affleck. So I just want to throw that to you. I know the listeners, if they're yelling at their, look it up. Okay. What? Ben Affleck's not in it. It's Edward Burns. Looks very similar.
What?
Interesting.
Sorry, I just rocked his entire world.
Hold on here, Tonto.
Okay, we'll hold. Also, one thing that I really
found you're right. Holy,
thank you.
Wow.
So one thing in Saving Private Ryan, I think I talked about this on the one that I was on.
Yeah,
I think it was
based on true story.
Based on true story. Yeah. I really enjoy the whole scene, like Colton said at the beginning, for 30 minutes. Amazing. The obstacles are facing the wrong direction on one of those, in case you want to know from the history buff. In the wrong direction. And you can see a cameraman in one of the shots, which is awesome. And the MG42s that fire them too fast. But anyway, sorry, I get too into it.
Nerd.
But no, love it. Love Saving Private Ryan. It didn't make my list. It was on a list that we're not allowed to talk about in this episode, apparently. Honorable mention list. Yeah, we're not allowed to talk about it, Colton. My number one is a movie that's already been mentioned by Colton. This is number 3, and that is Toy Story. Toy Story is my second all-time favorite Disney movie, but my number 1 all-time favorite Tom Hanks movie, I think. And I could have put Toy Story 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 if they want to make another one. I mean, I'll watch it. I think they'll continue to make money on the Toy Story franchise until they just don't want to do it anymore. But that will continue to make money for Disney. But Toy Story, Pixar's animation for that movie is just amazing. You could watch it today, and it looks slightly dated, but to say that movie is coming up on What, 30 years?
or 30 years. Yeah, it was 90, 94.
95, 94, 94, 95?
95.
Okay, 95. So it's coming up on 30 years. And there are movies that have CGI that is only 5 years old or 10 years old and looks terrible. So to have Toy Story look as good as it still does, still holds up. Characters are awesome. The entire universe of Toy Story with all the toys, and then to be a kid and to imagine that your toys are like alive when you're not in there, and then when you get in there, they all play, like their toys. It was just something that I remember thinking as a kid that maybe that's what my toys do.
Andy's coming.
Yep, pretty much. I gotta assume your positions. So just absolutely love Toy Story, love characters, quote it all the time. Love every movie. I even love two.
Somebody poisoned the watering hole.
Some people weren't digging number 2, but I still dig it.
I love number 2.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad.
It's not, but when it stacks up against the other 3, it's the lowest rated, and people didn't like it as much. But doesn't mean it was a bad one. So Toy Story is my number 1.
Nice. All right, Gunner. What do we
got?
I
had to grab a prop for my number 1. It is Zoltar. My number 1 is big.
Who'd have thought?
Yeah, it's and like I said at the beginning, it's on the wall. It's right there on the wall.
It's right there.
A movie I watched. I said this earlier. Watched countless times growing up because my nana had it on VHS and it was always right there. I'd watch it and watch it and watch it. And I've seen in the malls, like Concord Mall used to have a Zoltar, and after I watched the movie, I'm like, that'd be so cool if that actually worked. And I mean, just the fact that it all stems from him not being able to ride a ride at the fair. So he goes up to Zoltar and just puts in the wish, I wish I was big, and wakes up as an adult and has to learn how to live a life as an adult because he can't go home, and then ends up working for a toy company because he has the brain of a child and he knows a lot about toys. So he's living in a studio apartment, and there's some weird things that go on. Obviously, I think we've talked about that before, but it is from the late '80s. So I mean, probably couldn't.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay back then. It's just a fun movie. It really is, and like I said, always enjoyed watching it. That's why it's on my wall. That's why I have this little Zoltar here. Again, I can't say enough about it. I love it. And talking about it makes me want to watch it. So I might just go watch it. But yeah, that's my number 1. Big. Least favorite?
Oh, Colonel Tom Parker. Never want to punch a man so bad in the face.
I'm talking
Elvis. Yep. Hated him in that role.
Interesting.
Because I hated him. I hated the character.
I enjoyed the movie. I don't know that I enjoyed his character in that movie, but I didn't put it as my least favorite because I actually kind of thought the movie was okay.
I did. I wasn't.
Sarah hated it.
Yeah, I wasn't too big on the movie. But seeing him in a role like that just made me mad.
Just the manipulation he was doing, and he was kind of over the top and a little psychotic even at some points. I mean, I could see that.
So yeah, that was my least favorite one. Jake?
Yeah, my least favorite one is a movie that Tom Hanks starred the lead based on a true story of the and it's my least favorite not because of the way Tom Hanks portrayed the character, because he did a great job, amazing job. My issue was with the way that Hollywood twisted the story of it and made it a Hollywood movie. And when they say based on a true story, and it turns out to like the premise might be based, but then like this like hour of conflict never existed. I like, okay, like come on. So Tom Hanks plays Captain Sullenberger, who lands the Miracle on the Hudson. Sully is the movie. in the movie, they do a good job of explaining like how the plane had dual bird strikes, lost both engines, low altitude. They had to make emergency landing, made an emergency landing on the Hudson River. Nobody was injured, nobody was killed. It's a miracle. Like the plane stayed intact. Like Sully did everything he was supposed to do, and so like that beginning of the movie, great, perfect, right there. The rest of the movie, where the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, is like trying to pin that Sully did things wrong, that he shouldn't have landed on the water, and that they had these test pilots that like proved that he could have turned back to the airport and made it like that didn't happen. That did not happen. There was an investigation. They found that Sully did everything he could. They never questioned what he did. There was never a controversy around it. Like there wasn't this made up conflict between this board member and like
he saved a lot of lives.
yeah, like that was the point. He was a hero. They confirmed he was a hero, and we moved on. Like, and I get that that's not going to make a good movie, and they had to make this like conflict up. But like again, I don't fault Tom Hanks for taking the role. He did great, portrayed it great. It's just like half the movie never happened, and to say it's based on a true story, you can say that. I just don't like it when movies do that. And Hollywood just takes this liberal approach to. I don't mean political, but they're liberal with their like ideas on. They can go wherever they want. Like the story can be,
like The Greatest Showman.
Like yes, like The Greatest Showman.
Oh gosh, don't get me started on that.
It can be like this much can be true, so it's based on a true story. But the rest of it never really happened.
Nice.
What about you, Gunner?
It's my least favorite Christmas movie, and that is The Polar Express.
Wow.
I can never watch it, never enjoyed it. Sarah loves it, and she always wants to watch it, and I just can't get into it. I don't know if it's the animation style. I don't know if it's.
I can see that.
It's just it's to me it's just boring. I guess I never really understood why it was so popular, and I know a lot of people love it, but man, I just can't get behind it. I can't. It's not a movie I would watch every year around Christmas time. It's not a movie I would even want to watch again. It's just, I think Tom Hanks overall doesn't do a terrible job voice acting in it, and I think a lot of the mocap they did in it was okay, but maybe it is more of a feel with the eyes kind of thing. Like the movements and it just seems kind of off, almost more like a video game instead of what a movie should be, right? And yeah. So maybe that's why I've never enjoyed it, and I just couldn't keep my attention to it as much. And yeah, so yeah, Polar Express, not a fan.
Perfect example of how I can accept the CGI of Pixar with Toy Story, but I cannot accept Polar Express CGI. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad, really bad. But all right, you guys got some quotes? We just want to spitball.
Multiple?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Because I got one. I got Houston. We have a problem.
Yep. That's on my list. Can I mark it off?
Yeah.
Is this like Minds?
Yeah.
Is this a game? Is this a game like Minds?
Perfectly fit.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, I have Houston. We have a problem. Colton, what's one
you are a toy?
Oh, I have that one too.
All right, Jake.
Yep, I got it.
How about?
There's no crying in
baseball. Oh my god, I was just gonna say it too.
That's a good one.
Okay, mark that one up.
Reach for the sky.
Okay, I didn't do multiple out of the same movie.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, I mean,
I didn't either. I got life was like a box of chocolates. Also,
that's true. Colton,
something bit me.
Come on, you're not even like.
I love that one.
No, what I thought you would love, Colton, is the drill sergeant scene where he goes, "Gump, what's your sole purpose in this army? To do whatever you tell me to, drill sergeant." That's a perfect one. It's a perfect line. To do whatever you tell me, drill sergeant.
To do whatever you tell me. I did not think of that one, but yeah, that is a funny one. Oh, another funny quote from Forrest Gump. Who'd have thought?
I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just saying that you do cry at it. Gosh, don't give me Gunner. What else you got?
I got I had 3. I already said them all. So
Okay.
I've got to pay.
I gotta pay. Okay, we're just gonna go back and forth on Forrest Gump.
I got one more.
Ice cream.
Oh no, I love that one. Ice
Lieutenant
cream,
Dan.
Lieutenant Dan, ice cream. I do that one to my uncle all the time.
Yes. Do you remember the drill? Back to the drill sergeant one. Do you remember when Bubba? This is when Bubba's talking about shrimp, how you can make it.
Yeah,
right?
they're doing like
Fried
they're
shrimp.
breaking down the gun.
Break it down, and then Forrest Gump goes, "Done, drill sergeant."
Done.
He goes, "Come, why did you put that weapon together so quickly?" Because you told me to, drill sergeant. This is a new company record. You're gonna be a general someday.
You're gonna be a general someday. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Here's a different one. He better be worth it. He better go home and cure a disease or invent a longer lasting light bulb or something.
Why don't I know that line?
It's Saving Private Ryan.
Saving
Oh,
Private
okay.
Ryan.
Gotcha.
How about Saving Private Ryan? How about when he's talking about griping, and he goes, "Gripes don't go down; they always go up." Okay,
Gripes go up, never down.
I don't gripe. I don't gripe to you. I don't gripe in front of you. Okay, and then the actor that you thought was Ben Affleck said that he's a higher rank, and then Tom Hanks goes off on how he would said it was a wonderful mission. He would lay down his life and the life of his men, especially him,
Especially
to ease her suffering.
ease her suffering. Yes.
Wilson, I think we already said it, but I said it earlier. Wilson. That's just that's an iconic
Oh yeah.
Castaway line. There was one from Catch Me If You Can. And he goes, when he's on the phone, he goes, "Barry Allen, the comic book. He's a kid." That's when he figures out that he's a kid. He's on the phone. I don't know why I remember that one.
That's that's the one with DiCaprio, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he's trying to catch Leo.
Where he's writing fake checks and working for the.
Yeah, this is actually, I like this. I like the structure right now because it allows me to get my honorable mention list out there without Gunnar knowing that my honorable mention is out there.
I actually really like Catch Me If You Can. I have not watched in a long time, and I keep seeing reels on it, and it's like, man, I should watch this movie. Yeah, that would be in my honorable mentions list if it was.
Yeah.
If we had one.
If we had one.
Jake, have you seen The Money Pit?
I have not.
Bree, it's one of Bree's favorite Tom Hanks movies. She made me watch it one night. She's like, "Oh, I gotta watch this. You gotta watch this. This is great. It's hysterical." I'm like, "Okay."
Have you seen Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close?
I don't think I have. No.
Underrated Tom Hanks movie. Okay, he plays a dad who was killed on September 11th, but it's about his son and like his son and his mom, like his wife, going through that grief of a year. And then like his son finding this key that is going to unlock some lock somewhere in the city of New York that his dad has made this like scavenger hunt because they used to do scavenger hunts together. And it's just all about like coming to terms with loss of a parent. Like it's a really emotional, it's a really good underrated one. And the News of the World. Have you seen that one? That one's a newer Tom Hanks movie.
Mm-mm.
Oh, what are you guys doing? Why not watching Tom Hanks? News of the World is in the late 19th century, so late 1800s. It's like westward, out west, and he plays as a traveling news reader. So he would go from town to town with newspapers of news of around the world, and he would read them to people. So they would pay like a cent or 2 cents into a can, and they would sit there and they would listen to the news of the world because everyone, like most people, were illiterate, so they couldn't just read the newspaper. And so they would have somebody read the news to them, and he plays this, and there's a girl that he befriends and protects, and it's an interesting story that you don't see a lot from Tom Hanks in a different timepiece. So anyway,
Nice.
So I got my other honorable mentions out there. Snuck them in.
Congratulations. Sneak
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my.
Hey,
Oh,
Zoltar speaks. You guys have anything else you want to say about Tom Hanks?
No, just a fantastic. I mean, how can you not love him?
Yeah, who doesn't love him? I keep saying it over and over again. But for real, I mean, I don't know that I know anybody that doesn't at least enjoy Tom Hanks as an actor. And sure, like I said, there's some lemons out there, but he's overall he's a winner. So the awards show it. His skills as an actor show it. So Jake, anything?
No, nothing that's already been said. Really good. And like we said earlier, I think there's a Tom Hanks. He's on the bill. He's on the cast, or even as maybe he takes a step back and becomes a director or producer or something like that.
He's got a lot of producing credits. So
yep. Just continue to be a fan.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I'm gonna get us out of here. Actually, before we do that, Jake, do you want to talk about your what you got wearing? What's on your shirt there?
Yeah, sure. So, I think we're excited. Another reason to come on here is to kind of talk about a new partnership that we've kind of been fleshing out and talking a little bit between Golden Mojo and business that Chrissy, my wife, and I have created that is Perfectly Picked Games, and it's a business. We have our own websites, perfectlypickgames.com, and on there, we really have enjoyed board games growing up. Both Chrissy and myself, we enjoy playing them right now with our kids. We've got a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old who we just love to spend time with. And as kids get older, it's easier to maybe fall into allowing them to watch a little bit more TV, watch a little bit more tablet, watch your phone, that kind of thing. And we really want to make it a priority for us to stay connected as a family. And we think board games is a way to ensure that we still have time and to teach our kids some valuable things like taking turns, like basic strategy, learning how to lose and learning how to win. And those are some important skills that we found some value in that board games have been able to do. So we kind of taken that passion and the passion that we both have, and we're kind of putting it behind this service. And we offer some games that you can buy directly, but we also offer a subscription that you can pay monthly and get a board game or 2 board games that you might not normally have in your closet or on your shelf, kind of a deal. We kind of specialize in games that you maybe haven't heard of, but are very family centered, that can teach some of the skills that we want to teach our kids and can allow some fun time for your family to have. So I think going forward with Golden Mojo and with Call Guys especially, I think we're going to look at a partnership on how Perfectly Picked can continue to sponsor some of your guys' material, and we can help each other out and connect some people to some games and keep their families connected together and learning together, and also just promote this awesome podcast that you guys have. So if you're interested, want to learn more about Perfectly Picked, again, that's perfectlypickedgames.com. You can head on over to our website, check us out.
Can you imagine that one day there will be somebody playing a perfectly picked game while listening to the Call Guys podcast?
Absolutely.
Whoa.
Firmly believe it.
We're not going to put music on. It's going to be us talking.
That's right.
Yes, excited for this partnership to see how it can help out both of us in the long run. And yeah, definitely very, very excited. And I know the Emperor is very excited also. So let me get us out of here. Jake, I really appreciate you coming on again, and look forward to working with you here in the next few weeks to get this all fleshed out. So
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Colton. You've been pretty quiet over there. No, I'm just kidding. You got my plugs? No, I'm just kidding on that one also. But all right, everybody, thank you for listening to the Call Guys podcast. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. Just search for the Call Guys podcast. Please rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We'd love to hear from you on there. You can also message us on Facebook at facebook.com/thecallguyspod, or find us wherever you get your podcast and or all of your other social media accounts. Instagram at the Call Guys podcast and TikTok at the Call Guys. And then yeah, you can always send us an email. We always plug this email because we love talking to our listeners and having our listeners talk to us. So if you want to send us an email, it is thecallguyspodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. recommendations for future episodes, questions of the pod, and just tell us a little bit about yourself. And we'd love to have you on if you are a avid listener that wants to be a part of the podcast. So for real, let us know. And then you can also check out all the other podcasts under the Golden Mojo Entertainment Network of podcasts, whether that be the Golden Image Podcast, A Court of Books and Booze, the Indiana Chiefs Fans Podcast, the Golden 80s Podcast, the United States Paranormal Podcast. Who did I miss? Did I miss anybody? I don't think I did. I think we're good. Golden's giving me the you didn't miss any head shake for all you listeners out there. All right. And you can always go check out the Golden Mojo Entertainment family of podcasts. Our website is goldenmojoent.com. There's merch store on there for everybody. You can go to all of our pages on there and click on us and go directly to our social medias and our podcast sites, whatever you need to do. And we'd love to see people running around in a Call Guys hoodie or a t-shirt. That'd be awesome. Colton, you got anything else?
Love you, brother.
Love you, brother. Jake, love you, brother.
Love you, brother.
Nothing. Colton. Wow.
No, man, we're good. We straight. We good.
We straight.
Man, if anybody ever has to question that, any time, just Jake is like a brother, like a legitimate
brother. Which is why they pick on each other so much.
It's just like he's jonesing for me just to say it to him, and that makes me not want to say it to him.
Well, if I end it, you won't have the opportunity. And at the end of any call, you should always say it. Just say.
Love your brother.
That's right. All right. For everybody out there in podcast land, we'll see you next time.
Later. Bye.
Whee! Run, Forrest.
Run, Forrest.